KFOR.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Victory Monday. Welcome to the morning hookup. But look, Elijah Herb. I had to wait. Here, one more sunshine.
This song was dedicated to all the people out there whose NFL team lost over the weekend and their season has ended.
Ones that nobody cares about. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, ain't no sunshine when they're gone. I do feel for you, but I'm not bigger about it.
Boy, what a wild. I think we're going to get to it. But the word wild and wild card was absolutely what you got from the NFL this weekend in wild card weekend. We'll talk about that. One more game to go. Nebraska hoops. It was just winning all over the weekend between Nebraska hoops. We'll talk about that. Wild card weekend. The Natty is set for the college football playoff. That is set. Go back a few days when you and I were, when I think, not you and I, but Husker Nation thought the football portal was falling apart when a quarterback said yes, but then he left us at the altar and said no. Just 5 to 6 days ahead. Now look, I think you're winning in the portal. Monster winning in the portal right now with just a few days left. I believe Wednesday. It'll close up on Wednesday, so we'll talk about that. Evan Blam, the My World Herald, will join us as well. And stories that we missed. It's just winning. Winning. Hope you all won the weekend as well. You got to win this weekend as well because you were calling high school hoops, which was electric.
We had some great games.
My goodness.
Great games. Friday night, I said it on the air, I'll say it again. It was the most packed I had seen Lincoln Southeast since Winnebago came to town for a district, or excuse me, it was a state championship game where they play the early rounds at local area high schools. That was the most packed I'd seen it since Winnebago was there probably 8 years ago. So very fun. Southwest gets to win there. And then West Side, one of the most skilled teams in Class A, comes down I-80 and takes down the undefeated Silverhawks on Saturday. It was fantastic. And we saw something. Motzi came and mentioned it to me briefly. Saw something I've never seen before. A snapped rim.
I saw the video.
Oh,
that doesn't make sense to me.
I've never seen it.
There's before. A flaw in the rim.
So
a crack. I've seen like shattered backboards, things like that, or a bent rim, but a cracked rim.
Never seen it. Never seen that rim. It snapped off right at the kind of heel of the rim.
Investigation time
on the is on a huge putback. And we had about a 30-minute delay in action.
Yeah.
As they had to go find a new rim and take it down from another gym and bring it in and string it on up. And then a warm-up period. It was something. 3 minutes into the game.
I mean, by the way, shout out that because you got to troubleshoot really quick and have the staff members able to get that done. So shout out the crew that got that done. Because that's when you look at it and go, you kind of freeze going, what do we do now?
Yeah. Wait. What happened?
What? You said what?
Is there anything like that at your restaurants where you've gotten the call and you've been like, wait, what happened?
I almost cussed, but yes, all the time. Believe me.
How does that even happen?
I don't even know. A lot of it is, don't take this the wrong way, but it's like, why are you calling me for that? We're out of what? Then figure it out. Right? Yeah. Figure it out. Boy, that was something else. But we'll get to. We got a lot of stuff to get to. But boy, let's talk about it. How about Nebraska hoops? 16-0 now. There are so many things in this game. There are so many things in this game to look at as you look at this team, as they'll be back tomorrow night. Pinnacle Bank Arena, sold out crowd playing Oregon tomorrow night, 8:00. It's going to be ruckus from here on out for Nebraska hoops. When you look at their slate coming up, going to be favored the next 4 games leading up to a now not undefeated Michigan. But let's not get too far ahead. Nebraska 83-77. Lackluster first half. Lackluster, not the defensive effort we look for, but kept it close when not getting your best. The last few games, you have not gotten your best at times from, let's call them your 2 stars, from Price and Rank. You have not gotten that. But let's call them the rest of your starters, your role guys. have kept you in these games. 39-30 at half, didn't shoot it very well. I think we're like, you know what? Take that back. I mean, you shot it 40%. You made 6 threes. On the Indiana side, Lamar Wilkerson, he's the real deal. He let you have it in the first half, shot it from everywhere. They beat you up on the boards a little bit in the first half, but you hung in there. Second half starts. Here they go. Boom, boom, boom. You're down 16. Hey, you know what's crazy to me as I was watching this? And maybe it's just me. I still felt no anxiety. I still felt like, listen, this is going to be a team that's going to fight. Do they win? It's a way different. I don't think so. But I think they're going to do something to make it close, but maybe exert a lot of energy late in the second half and not have enough.
Yeah. And to me, I thought it was over. I still thought they were going to show some fight because that's what this team is. They were going to show some fight, and they're ultimately going to come up short whenever there was that 4-point play in the second half.
Oh, that was like, you got to be kidding
Sam
me.
Hoiberg tries to fly by on him, gets called for the foul. He knocks down the 3. They go up by 16, and you go, okay. I mean, that was the largest lead of the game.
Their crowd
that was
got
the point
electric.
Where the crowd was into it. They're up by 16. You go, okay.
Where does Fred and staff go?
They're just hitting shots. Okay.
You're right. It's their day. Wergeson's doing Wergeson stuff. Where do you look at the bench and go, where does Fred and staff go? Because you get word that Oogie is out, which, by the way, that probably means he doesn't play the rest of the year.
Agreed.
He's done. He'll redshirt because, as we told you on Friday, that was the breaking point of if you play a minute, get in the game, your red shirts are gone. His career will be what it is at Nebraska after that. But I think but you look and go, what happened? Where do you go? Jamarcus Lawrence. And then Tucker DeVries goes out with the fourth foul.
That was the turning
down
point.
16.
At that point, Nebraska was down 10, I believe.
Was it 10? I thought they were down.
I think they were down 10 whenever that happened. But DeVries was also, he'd been on a bit of a mini slump. Shooting behind the arc. He started knocking him down. Game changed whenever he went to the bench. You go on a little bit of a mini run to get it within 10, and then he goes to the bench, and I think it's 2 minutes later you have the game tied.
Yes.
2 minutes of game time later, or 3 minutes of game time later. It was within what felt like just a couple of minutes real time. You go from down 10 to tied up, a couple of threes, one from Jamarcus, one from Price Sanford, and bang, it's 55 all.
Jamarcus Lawrence.
I believe it was 55-45 whenever DeVries went to the bench, and then you reel off a quick 10-0 run.
Yeah. Jamarcus was sensational on the day. Again, you heard it. If you watched it, you heard him talk about it. Really likes playing at Assembly Hall. 36 minutes, 8 of 13. Career high 27 points. And that may be the biggest telling stat for Jamarcus. I know he scored 1 turnover in the game, leading the offense. There were a couple things that if you watch the game that you noticed in this. This is now multiple games now. What's the stat on Kel Jacobson, by the way? You can give it to us. When he plays so many minutes, we're undefeated. It happened again. Kel was, it wasn't sensational, but multiple games now, he's given you minutes plus minutes. Mm-hmm. Not on the plus minus, but plus minutes. 7 points, knocks down a 3, makes a couple free throws. Boy, I thought him and Little Man were going to get into it. Did you see that exchange?
The guy with the terrible mustache for
Indiana?
The
exchange?
As a man with a mustache, I can judge mustaches. That was a terrible mustache.
Did you happen to see that Kel told him? Because there was a foul. It was weird when foul. It was his second foul. He's jawed, and Kel goes, "Why don't you go sit down?" Just pointed, "Why don't you go sit down?" I
could read lips. I saw what the guy said back to him. I cannot repeat it on the air.
And the fact that he said there for another minute and jawed, then he did get teed up was, but whatever.
I was sitting on my couch thinking, like, this is the time to bring Braden Frager back into the game.
Frager does Frager stuff again. Oh, wait a minute. There's 8 to 10 minutes to go in the game. I'll wake up. It's like me. It's my time. He does his thing. But something I noticed in the second half of this one, they made an adjustment on defense. If you watch Wilkerson's back half of the second half, the last 10 minutes, Sam guarded him a lot throughout that game. They made an adjustment in that. And the fact that Berkay and Frager found their way to defend him. A little bit more a little bit longer defensively caused him trouble late in that game. A little minor switch made a huge impact. And then Rank woke up. Rank makes a big shot. Price hits a big shot. Frager dunks on kid. and you win the game 83-77. When you shot, by the way, in the second half, 57%. Overall, 50% from 3, 8 of 16. You make almost 80% of your free throws late in that one.
It was 53 total points in the second half. Is that right?
53-38. Yep.
53-38. Yeah, outscored.
Yep. Yeah, outscored them in the second half.
Whew.
Big second half from Nebraska in that one.
And I want to say, I don't have, I think I want to say the run was something like 41-16 once you were down by 16. I think from that point on, I think you went out and scored them 41-16, something like that. I'm in the ballpark. I should have that pulled up in front of me, but I don't.
Do the things that you do to win basketball games as well. When you look at a few of the stats, how about 18 assists on 29 made shots? Put that one in there. How about the turnover battle again? You have 8 turnovers in the entire game. In that one, you scored 26 points in the paint, 13 second chance points. That's big. We talked about the rebounding edge that could go down, 13 second chance points. And also you get 19 more points off your bench for Nebraska. A complete effort once again from the 8 that played in this game. Everybody contributes. And it's just another good win. That's another feather in the cap for Nebraska. And I put out there, are we done with this great story of college basketball? I get it. It's Nebraska. It's a cool story. They're a legit basketball team. Not saying contender of the final, but they're a legit problem. Any team they play. Any team that they play. Mm-hmm. It's a well-rounded basketball team. That staff is, you know what? And again, they know, by the way, all the narratives that have been said about Nebraska, if you caught a little bit of Fred's locker room stuff, the fraud, are you real? Are you satisfied? It's there. They've heard it all. And I wonder what Fred's first beverage was after the game. Because he let you know he's going to go enjoy one.
Yeah, good for him. Deserved it too. I mean, stressful. It's got to be on that bench. The win probability of Indiana, if you follow the win probability, reached 97% whenever they were up 51-35. 97%. And then you watch your team claw all the way back. I think we knew Nebraska had that in them. You thought that this was not the spot because you're at Assembly Hall. Assembly Hall got into it in the second half. Oh, yeah. It was a little sleepy early to start for the Indiana crowd. Late in the first half and early in the second half, they got into it. And you thought, okay, you know what? As I said earlier, Indiana's on one. It's just not your night shooting. That is the type of performance that makes me think Nebraska can make a Sweet 16 to Elite 8 type run in March because of the way you stuck with it. And there's going to be teams in the NCAA tournament. It might be your first round opponent for all we know. And I am saying when, not if you make the NCAA tournament, you could be on a 2 seed line, maybe even a 1 seed line as it stands right now. That's crazy to say. We'll get into where Nebraska might end up at the AP poll because that comes out a little bit later today. There'll be a single digit by your name, and there's a chance it could be the highest ranking in single digit history.
Are they going to put him there?
Yes.
I had this discussion with my kid because it's a lot about what people do above you as well. It's a lot about where you get. It's what did the teams do above you, and what quality win versus your quality win happens
on the road. The 2 games, I think most people that cover national college basketball had the win streak for Nebraska ending in this past week.
Oh, I like
on the road at Ohio State, on the road at Indiana. Everyone said, all right, this is a good story, but you're allowed to drop one now. And Nebraska didn't. Highest ranking in school history is number 8 in the country.
Think they get there today? It's around noon today, I believe.
Yeah, I don't think it's top 5.
No, we're not there yet.
I think there's a very good chance they're sitting in the 6 or 7 spot. That's where I'm at. I nailed it last week, just to let you know.
You did.
I picked number 10, and they were number 10. This week, I'm on 6 or 7.
And again, I
know everyone at home's probably laughing. That joke's a little bit old now at this point.
Apparently, I've been told there's a meme reset. That doesn't even matter. You can say it now.
Okay, yeah. 6 or 7 is where I have the Husker basketball program, highest in school history, just because of the fact that so many people had.
Is it 8? Is 8 the highest ever?
1966.
They're going to put you at 8. You're going to tie it.
I have that 7 spot circled, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 6. We'll see. I nailed it last week.
That means you got to jump. Again, maybe more people got eyes on Nebraska. I think that's been the issue with Nebraska. One, You've carried the Nebraska logo in basketball beside you. And I don't think there's been enough eyes on Nebraska. Who do you jump in this? Where do they see the votes coming from? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. By the way, the predictive models that we always like to look at after wins, they jumped, I believe, 4 or 5 spots, depending on where. I can't remember where they were in the Ken Pom. They've jumped to 17 in that. In the net, you've stayed stagnant. You're 11. You're 11. BYU's in front of you. Was it enough to say BYU's 10 and you're 9?
Yeah, I think so.
Because BYU comes off beating. Ooh, that was a fun game. I watched part of that game. BYU, Utah. Gonzaga at 8. Gonzaga beat Santa Clara. It doesn't matter. Maybe that's where you get to little Houston. They gave Baylor the business. Puke at 6. They had a tough one against a ranked opponent, SMU, on their home floor, so I don't know if they're Purdue, UConn. I don't know. It's going to be interesting on where they see Nebraska. I could see a 9 or an 8, an 8 or a 9 beside their name.
Yeah, Vandy also is probably going to jump up.
Yeah, and again, that's the other thing. Where does
that win against Alabama?
Yes,
they probably jump up.
Where does Michigan fall to after their loss to Wisconsin? Is that just a slip up where they go to 4?
That's about where I'm.
And everybody else slides up. You got Iowa State slides to 2, UConn slides to 4. 3's playing really good basketball right now.
I think Nebraska realistically could jump Houston, Gonzaga, and BYU. And you have Nebraska and Vandy in the 6 and 7 spots in some order. I'm not sure which order, but 6 and 7, Nebraska, Vandy. 5 is probably Michigan, 4 Purdue, 3 UConn, 2 Iowa State, 1 Arizona.
Yeah.
It's about how I have things forecasted.
I can't dispute it for sure. Just where these voters look at, how these votes start coming in. If Nebraska does jump to the 6 or 7 line, you know what that tells you? There were more eyes on that game, and now they're believing that Nebraska is a legit part of college basketball in that ranking. That everybody now notices.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they'll be back at it tomorrow. They got to keep focused. 8-8 Oregon, not a very good Oregon team coming to town tomorrow. Sold out. Tickets are flying off right now. I believe the next 4 or 5 home games are now all sold out, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of games sold out.
I'm just saying, look at the upcoming stretch. Is this team, and again, as I've said, you can fall victim to a cold shooting night and the other team's hot at any point in time in basketball. It's a make or miss sport, but Nebraska's going to be favored to win in their next 4.
Next 4. 2 on the road, 2 at home. You're favored the next 4.
And then a potential top 5 matchup at Michigan.
I said, we looked at it the other day. That is again, this team 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Get there the next 4. Stay focused. You will be there because there are a few games out there. I think look at the next 4. You're going to match up well against all of them. Okay. If there's a trap game of trap games, it's the 11 o'clock at Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. The Barn's a tough place.
Just because you're looking ahead at and going, oh, we played there on a Saturday at 11 a.m. and then we got to come back at Tuesday at Michigan. Keeping your focus there. It's going to be an awesome environment coming up. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Where is that? Where are they hosting that game on the tube?
I think all the next 5 are on Big Ten Network, I believe. And that's one thing I brought up yesterday on our Sunday live edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. The one mentioned every single day. I get
right, baby.
Is there any? Can they flex schedule in basketball?
I don't know. Like honestly, every game I'm looking at. I just scrolled down.
I think your next national television game is Iowa.
You go Big Ten, Big Ten, Big Ten. Minnesota is FS1. These jerks. Tuesday at Michigan, Peacock.
Can you flex that to Big NBC?
No, leave it there because we're undefeated on Peacock.
That's true. That is true.
Leave it there. We're undefeated right there.
You've beaten some really good teams on Peacock. Actually, you beat Purdue a couple years ago on Peacock. I think you beat Wisconsin a couple years ago on Peacock. You beat Michigan State on Peacock. You beat Illinois on Peacock.
Yeah. There you go.
But there needs to be one of these games needs to be on before that final game of the year against Iowa, which is on Fox. You gotta get something on CBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something on NBC.
Maybe there's something there. So All right, here we go. Good stuff. Nebraska 16-0 tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but we're going to take our first break. And what's wild, I know it's wild that Nebraska basketball is 16-0. What's really wild is NFL wildcard weekend. That was wild. Let's talk about that when we return. Dylan Raiola to Oregon.
Is that confirmed now?
Well, it's coming across everywhere. Mitch Sherman was talking about it. Let's see. On 3 breaking transfer. Yeah, On 3 has it posted now. Evan Bland committed to Oregon. He's got a picture of himself in an Oregon jumpsuit holding a Nike swoosh.
Well, I think likely Dante Moore comes back for another season.
After we talk about that performance, probably so.
Which means Dylan Raiola has probably committed there being comfortable sitting for a season, which I think could be huge for him. I'll just say that. Still rooting for the kid, and I think that might be exactly what he needed. And then you have a very interesting 2027 game scheduled against the Oregon Ducks.
When he comes here, we go there isn't it back-to-back years, I think, isn't it?
He would so you go
there next year?
Is that right?
I thought that was an away game next year. And then they would come here on the 20 maybe I got them backwards. I thought I looked and maybe the Oregon game was you
are at Oregon this year, and then Oregon would come here in 2027.
He would start here. Moore is the guy, and he start back in Memorial Stadium. Good morning, Arlo. You're in. Good morning, Flood X10. Good morning, Greg. Hope you're enjoying the time. Good morning, Todd. Yeah, it sounds confirmed. Yep. Todd, I don't know if it's Dayton as well. I don't know. We just got the confirmation on. Or not we didn't get it, just the Twitterverse is giving you confirmation out there. Yeah, we've got to mention that. Did you watch the whole Nebraska game? You see the old Justice mention in there?
Oh, yeah.
That was cool.
That was great.
Sam was back on the mic again.
Bullseye. Okay, about to come back here. Got a few seconds still. I was parked in front of my couch all day yesterday, though. It's going to be.
I was up and down, but I got a lot of football watching the past 2 days. Welcome back in the morning hookup again. Happy Victory Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend out there. You got a chance just to be as lazy as possible. Maybe you got it between the commercials of Wild Card Weekend because it was wild. If you might have missed a lot. You got one more to go. You got tonight. You got Monday Night Football. You got Steelers, Houston, Texas tonight. The first 5 games, you count up the margin of loss. 20.
The fun stat from yesterday was we did not have a game that was not one score at any point until early fourth quarter last night. On Saturday, the Packers game got out of hand, and then Bears come back with a miraculous comeback. But on your Sunday slate, all the games remained one score up until the fourth quarter of Sunday Night Football.
Isn't that nuts? Incredible. And then the number of fourth quarter, is it yesterday? I want to say like 12 fourth quarter lead changes, or maybe it's 13. It's one of the two. Incredible.
Also, another note here, Hooksy. I was perfect on my playoff picks until last night. I nailed the first 4.
Dang it.
But I took the Chargers. Which that Patriots team, that was a bit of a statement last night.
You
I
think
with how their defense played. We've heard so much about their offense. We've seen their offense put up some big numbers, some big stats. That defense, their performance,
I didn't know what to
harassing
say
Justin
about it.
Herbert.
Herbert
the pass
was
defense. I mean, there was no one for Herbert to throw it to.
Trying to compare, like Herbert was running for his life. Like he can't feel good this morning. How dominant the Patriots defense was against them, stopping the run. At one point, I giggled because I was watching it, and it was the longest play. Their best running play was when Herbert got like stripped and Vital picked up the ball and ran it for like 15 yards. And Vrabel's are just laughing. It's like, are you kidding me? Going up, but they just dominate that thing 16-3. Drake May made some passes in that game that were silly. Welcome to the NFL. Welcome to the playoffs, Drake May. That team is going to be a problem for a long time. 16-3, dominating performance, and that one, not a lot to be said about that. Boy, entertaining as well was the first game. Rams, late touchdown to hang on, 34-31 against the Panthers. Bryce Young was good. Stafford, 3 touchdowns, 304. Puka, 111 yards, touchdown. It was just a well-played football game. Carolina showed a lot.
Mm-hmm. Carolina, I mean, they fought hard. I don't think any of the fans in Carolina were disappointed in the result. You made the playoffs whenever nobody really had you circled this year, except Elijah Herbal. I didn't win the division.
I know.
I was right. Well, the one person out there. Let it be known. But you were in position to potentially go win that game. And I think most importantly, Bryce Young proved he is the guy for that franchise moving forward. That's the most important thing he showed. And I think he had shown enough through the regular season. The postseason performance confirmed it. You went toe-to-toe with one of the better teams in the NFC, and Bryce Young did enough to go win that football game. Your defense, they hung you out to dry.
But again, you're playing one of the best offenses in the entire NFL, and it's hard to keep them down for so long.
But that team, I talked about it going into the weekend, just making the playoffs was a win for them, because with that, I think we all knew there could be one solid offseason away from making a run in the NFC. Saturday again went out and confirmed it. They did everything they needed to do offensively to go win that football game. You can't get a stop late. Rams beat you, but that team is they're one good draft and one good free agency away from being a potential Super Bowl contender in the NFC.
I was going to say it probably answered a lot of questions for the organization, the way Bryce Young played, to keep him in that and the way he played.
If you have a quarterback on a rookie contract, you have a chance at a Super Bowl that's playing like that. And I think they have one more year with Bryce Young on a rookie contract before they're going to have to give him the extension. So you have one more year, I think, to go out, sign some guys in free agency,
get ahead of it,
get ahead of it with some of the guys you're going to need to draft. You need to have a good draft because you expect some guys are going to have to go in free agency to make room for how much money you're going to spend on Bryce Young. But that team, they could be a problem in the NFC.
Yep. A problem is probably the Green Bay defense or offense. I don't even know which one to put it at. 31-27, 25-point fourth quarter for the Bears.
Want to hear a statistic here?
Please.
In the 2 games the Packers played at Soldier Field this season, they were outscored 41-6 in the fourth quarter in overtime.
Oh my gosh.
They were in position to win both games. The Bears make a fourth quarter comeback in each. Ben Johnson barely shakes the hand of LaFleur going off the field. There's some real hatred there.
You think in the post game when he's like, beep, beep, beep the Packers?
There's some real hatred there. And I think there's some questions about Matt LaFleur's future. I don't think I thought
something.
Whenever I woke up yesterday morning, I thought maybe you fire him. I think this is a kick the tires on some potential candidates before you fire him this offseason, and you inevitably keep him for one more year, but he's on the hot seat next year.
Did you hear the story about that? I mean, obviously, we got the game, but there's a story, I believe, and I'm not going to get it right, but there's an agent connection with Harbaugh.
There is.
And I can't remember which one it was. It's that the GM or somebody within their organization is an agent connected to John Harbaugh and all that. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But what can you say? Boy, the Packers were off and running. This looked like it was going to be a boat race. And when you got to halftime at 21-3, and then the Bears defense shout them out, man. They get like 4 or 5 straight 3-and-outs. Only a 3-point third quarter, but then they just dominated that fourth quarter, 25-6. And Williams looked magnificent with some of his throws.
And I was told whenever he was coming out in the draft, he'd never be able to be a leader and command a locker room because he paints his nails.
Yeah, I heard
that was a
too.
ridiculous take. Let it be known. That was ridiculous. And I know people look back at the old age of the NFL. No, would Caleb Williams be able to command the locker room in the 1980s? No. But it's 2026. The type of guys in NFL locker rooms have changed completely. There is a just this old he won't be able to command the locker room. No, he's doing just fine. Did you see his post-game speech?
Oh, it was incredible.
All eyes were on him.
Very focused.
He commanded the room, and you could tell, based on his play, he has earned the respect of that locker room. So Caleb Williams doing just fine for himself. That was a fantastic fourth quarter comeback. Did the Bears have what it takes to make a Super Bowl run this year? No, I don't think so. Their defense still has some issues, but whenever they started pinning their ears back, bringing some pressure in the second half, totally threw the Packers off their game. And credit to Caleb Williams leading that comeback.
Yep, and also Loveland career day, 8 catches, 137, made his hay at the tight end spot there. Yesterday, a couple really, really good ones, man. I tell you what, that first one, Bills scored late in that game. Josh Allen, my goodness. Talking about putting your cape on. He can't feel good today either because that Jags defense was beating him up pretty good, but he was the stronger guy, 27-24. In a very highly contested game where not a lot going each way. And that was the one I think that, like, I can't remember the number of fourth quarter. It was 14 points where they were going back and forth in the second half. And to get Allen, that little quarterback tush thing at the end of the game,
tush push.
Whatever that was insane-o.
But it's something I said last week. If the Bills make a run, it's because Josh Allen's going to have to put on his Superman cape. Their defense isn't very good. We'll just put it simply.
No.
They kind of remind me of the Bears in that they make splash plays in key moments, but otherwise they're not very good. Josh Allen did put on a Superman cape, though, and now the Bills earn the right to go to Denver, take on the 1 seed on Saturday.
Another really good defense.
That is a fantastic matchup. You look at some of the matchups next week, not to get too far ahead of ourselves.
There's some good ones.
There are some good ones. Bills, Broncos, I think, leads the list. Rams, Bears should be good.
They're Saturday, right?
Yeah, both the 1 seeds will play on Saturday. So the Seahawks take on the 49ers on Saturday. The Bills take on the Broncos on Saturday.
Speaking of the 49ers, my gosh. Kyle Shanahan, tip of the cap, my friend. Maybe the best coaching job of your career for sure. 23-19. McCaffrey stud, Purdy a stud. Unfortunately, the news out of this one is that, man, talking about a franchise is maybe just like snake bitten all over the place. George Kittle. Confirmed torn Achilles. Too bad for him because he's a really fun, good player. One of the good guys in the league you like to watch.
Did you hear the story of
the tequila
bottle coming to the locker room whenever he was getting evaluated?
Yep.
And before he left that stadium, the tequila bottle was empty. Yeah,
there was probably a reason when they shouted him out in the locker room that they didn't show him.
He's not upright.
He's not upright at all. So, but unfortunately, but the 49ers, man, what the play calling in that one, the defensive side of that, you know what that did was, and I watch a lot of it, whether it be ESPN or Get Up this morning. There's that Eagles offense, vanilla. Same play over and over and over and over. They're easy to defend.
We knew it going in.
And I was wrong on it because I thought the Eagles were going to win. So I know I picked them in this one. I thought the 49ers were just too beat up going across the country.
It was just, you were looking at the Eagles offense this year, and there's too much talent for them to not be able to put up points. Yep. They're probably just hiding something in the back pocket.
That's why playoffs, we're going to make the playoffs. Yes.
That's why I brought up that comment last week from Jalen Hurts about his offensive coordinator not wanting to run him and how you could tell the frustration with Hurts. That was, to me, the number one sign of, oh, no, this Eagles offense isn't holding anything back. They just are what they are. That's not a very good 49ers defense. And the 49ers defense made that Eagles offense look pretty damn average. So I think the Eagles have some big questions this offseason. As we talked about last week, I think it is two teams that are on the back end of their Super Bowl runs where I don't think either team had what it takes to make a Super Bowl this year. You can look at the names and you can say, oh, well, these teams should make the Super Bowl. They're not. The 49ers, I think, are
they're destined to get their butts whooped next week.
Yeah, that's about the best way to put it. That's about the best way to put it. I think that should be like a 7.5 point line for the Seahawks because of how beat up the Niners are.
And I know you can go about this, but I tell you what, that just to put it out, but like it is 7.5. Did you already know that?
No, I did not.
It's 7.5.
Wow.
I just looked. I just flipped over.
Put me in Vegas.
Broncos, by the way. Would this make you mad looking at this?
They're going to be underdogs.
They are 1.5.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
But again, shout out Kyle Shannon for what he's done. Talking about squeezing the most out of what you got, you've done it to do what you've done. Tonight, how about ABC? Got a little Monday Night Football. Steelers getting 3 points. Texans headed to Pittsburgh.
That'll be fun. But
I hope it's like every other game, as entertaining as scoring the way it's gone.
Before we get there, though, we have to talk about why is these Patriots.
How about them?
We've been saving this conversation for you.
Holy defense.
Yeah, wasn't the game that I expected. I don't think most people realize how good our defense was. Honestly, I didn't think they were that good either. But they
appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
Man, like they were just flying around everywhere last night to the point to where like I think the offense had a little bit of inconsistencies going. Like there were plays being made, but they just weren't finishing drives, and the defense like kept you in that game.
Well, I think it's too undervalued defense. I don't think enough people understood how good the Chargers defense was this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I sure as heck did not know that the Patriots defense was like that.
No,
they're secondary. There was no one for Herbert to throw the ball to. You can talk about the pass rush, and they were great, but
they were defending it everywhere
because there's just nowhere for Herbert to go. And yeah, the pressure got home, but the first read wasn't there. And then Herbert looks down at his line, and oh my God, here comes the 330-pound monster coming to take my head off.
And the thing about the offense was like I said, they were a little bit off, but when plays needed to be made, they were made. Like throws were made, guys were making dudes miss on third down to keep drives going. Couldn't end up like finishing it with touchdowns, but you did what you had to do to get the win. And like it wasn't the prettiest win, but it was kind of like a team flexing their muscles on somebody that they're just simply better than.
Yeah, shout out the toughness factor of the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Announcing their presence as a toughness factor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Chargers are a tough football team as well, tough-minded, but the way they did it was amazing. So, but tonight, Monday Night Football. Yeah. I'm on to Pittsburgh. I like the Swan Song story here.
I think it's just going to be a heavyweight bout. It's going to be like defensive battle in the trenches, nasty sort of game.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't know who's going to win.
YZ, you got to be rooting for the Steelers, right?
Oh yeah, I don't want to play Houston's defense.
No,
not at all.
No.
There's rooting interest in this one for sure.
Absolutely. That's why I was rooting for the Jags yesterday. I know I didn't pick them, but I was rooting for the Jags yesterday, so I could then go and turn around and root for the Steelers tonight because the Steelers are the easiest out in the postseason for any team that's competent.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans, their offense has at times not been competent this year. They go through these weird 1 to 2 game stretches where their offense is just terrible and their defense has to win them a football game. We'll see what they look like tonight. But if their offense isn't on, and the Steelers' defense is good enough to give the Texans' offense some issues, oh boy,
be a lot of fun.
The Steelers, I think, are the matchup-wise the best first-round draw they could have gotten was the Texans.
Yes, for sure. And getting them at home.
I still don't think it's going to be enough for them to win that football game, but I think it could be interesting tonight.
Them at home. So
should be a close game.
Chance to watch that in a close game. So, boy, all right, good stuff. Wildcard Week can provide it. Hope it continues to provide tonight as we move forward. We'll look at some of those matchups as we.
My early take is that I think the wildcard matchups look
bless you
better than the divisional round matchups.
Yes, I agree.
There's not to say there's bad divisional round matchups. Not to say they're bad matchups,
really
but
good.
the wild card weekend was fantastic.
It was. So, all right.
I'm sure you guys talked about this, but in the first 3 games, the team that had the lead at the 2-minute warning lost.
Did not, but that's a great stat. Wow.
Yeah.
Did not realize that.
That's how tightly contested each game was.
Facts.
Well, we knew how wide open this field was. The weekend's games made it clear how wide open the playoffs are this year. Completely wide open. Any team that is still left in it, aside from the Steelers, but they don't count.
Nope.
Any team that is left
can
in
win
it,
this.
I think could win it. Niners have the worst chance in my eyes.
Yep. Just by their travel and where they're at.
And the draw next week.
Yep, the draw is bad draw for them.
Bad draw for them, but any team that's left, I think, could go. If the Niners beat the Seahawks, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised, but I'd be like, okay, you know what?
You did it.
They have championship pedigree.
Yep.
Hat tip.
All of them do. So, all right, speaking of championship, college football playoff, it's set. The Natty is set. Well, let's look at that matchup when we return.
Girls and boys basketball doubleheader Saturday as Millard West is in town to play Lincoln North Star. Join Chris Schmidt for the play-by-play. Girls games at 2, followed by the boys game at 3:45 right here on KFOR FM 101.5, 1240 AM and KFORnow.com.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Ask Forsyth Insurance Agency if Auto Owners makes sense for you. Go to forsythins.com. That's forsythins.com.
You've got your very own handyman.
I guess we don't need to listen to ads the whole time.
Speaking of college football news, you guys saw it, right?
Oh, the Dylan Rilo news. Yeah.
I was gonna say. I would assume that means Dante Moore isn't coming back.
I am not convinced of that. The question is I think this means Dylan Rilo could be willing to sit if Moore is coming back.
Yeah, that's just weird to me. I don't know.
All right.
I'll turn your mic on.
Ooh. Coffee hit me this. Be interesting. Mm-hmm.
All right, we're coming back here.
All right. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Thanks for hanging out with us. Happy Monday. Well, college football playoff. We got the Natty Step, boys. Couple of one entertaining game. Miami Ole Miss, a solid football game. Miami proving the naysayers, as we talked about this, they were a top 10 team preseason. Here they are playing for the Natty. On the other side, boy, Indiana. I thought they'd win the football game, I think. Did you see that happening?
They got to be cheating, right? They got to be cheating.
56 points on an Oregon. That defense has been really good all year long. It was like cheat code.
I mean, first play of the game, pick six. You're like, oh boy.
But that first play again, they got the pick six. You saw it. Taylor got to. But Oregon's response after that was really stinking good to tie it up. But then I did weird stuff. The number of turnovers Moore was turning the ball over, and the way Indiana just methodically would just go down the field and score. 14 points, 21 points, 7 points, 14 in the fourth. I mean, my goodness.
Indiana just broke them. Same thing they did with Bama. By the time halftime rolled around in both of those games, Alabama was broken and Oregon was broken. And that's a statement. Whenever you can go out and break two top 10 teams, I don't see any other way. It was physically and mentally, Indiana broke their last two opponents.
Man, you look at the stats, man, they were 11 of 14 on third down. The efficiency of that offense was what was crazy. Again, they had short field a few times, But they scored 56 points and 362 yards of offense.
And it's not like they're explosive plays either. Like you said, they just methodically they find a way to keep getting first downs and move the ball down the field, and then they hit you with like one big splash play when you're not expecting it at all. They're amazing at the back shoulder fade on whatever they can run it on whatever down. Elijah Surratt is gonna, if you have a one-on-one, he's gonna catch it every single time.
If you have a one-on-one, Becker's going to beat you deep.
Yeah,
Is his
every
name?
time.
Is his name? Charlie
Yeah,
Becker.
Charlie Becker.
Yeah, yeah.
Becker, he was 2 for 48.
Yeah, it's one-on-one coverage, no help over the top. They are going long to Becker, and he's going to beat his man every single time. Their defensive line stunts around and causes issues to the offensive line because they're just quicker.
I think every big day that I have that night before, I'm going to eat dinosaur nuggets and mac and cheese.
Might just be the recipe for success.
I mean, I don't even know. Just
City tournament's coming up for bowling. I know what I'm eating the night before.
dino nuggets and mac and cheese. Done. Signetti even said he was going to have a beverage in his post game. He was good for it.
As he should. Because not to go away. I know we're still a week away here.
Yeah.
Do you guys see, based on what Indiana has done in the playoff, do you see Miami standing a chance?
No. I mean, you got to play the game, but when you're looking at it, by the way, the line's at 7.5.
And I'm looking at, I think Indiana is a good bet there.
I don't even know how to look at this matchup because you would think, but Indiana's methodically just beaten. Like you said, they just break your will. They break you down.
The problem with asking the question of do you think Miami has a chance is I thought Oregon had a chance.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to put up a better fight than what they did. So I'm going into this game thinking, Miami's they got good trenches. They got a veteran quarterback, Carson Beck. Like, yeah, they should be able to put up a chance, but I just thought the same exact thing. So is Indiana just going to do the same thing they just did to Oregon, to Miami? They might. They quite literally might.
And Signetti, by the way, can absolutely coach. I thought in that, was it the first, they get the pick six, and then they were driving, and then he called a timeout. And it was like, boys, get your together. You're not playing. I thought at that moment, it was like you started to see him like, oh, yeah, we got to get, because they weren't getting lined up correctly. None of what they were accustomed to doing was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could go through, like, they do, like you check the boxes. Who's got the advantage at quarterback? Blah, blah, blah. I think Indiana has advantage everywhere on the field for the national championship.
They don't have the athleticism advantage, but it's a team of 24-year-old guys that just know how to play college football.
Mm-hmm.
They don't miss tackles. They don't get called for dumb penalties. When they get their shot plays, their wide receivers get the win on the defensive back every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they're clean. Roman Himby never misreads his blocks. He always finds the right hole.
Mendoza always makes the right read, the right play.
The offensive line rarely gets called for holding. Like the back-breaking type plays, Mendoza getting sacked rarely happens.
Yeah.
They just avoid every single back-breaking play in football, and they do the clean things right almost every single time.
They're in the Nebraska basketball of football.
They are. They are.
In comparative to the two sports.
They're a veteran team that is well-connected and plays the game the right way. They just know what they're doing out there.
Yep.
Do they have the quote-unquote talent advantage? No, but it doesn't matter.
But like you've said,
because they're the better team.
Synergy, the team, the culture, all that. They don't stray away from who they are. They don't beat themselves ever in games. And it's almost like they're destined for this to happen.
I'll still watch the national title game, but
absolutely.
And hey, maybe Miami has what it takes to hang around. And maybe we're just victims of the moment here with back-to-back good Indiana performances, but
it's not.
I thought Oregon had so many advantages going into this game. You got to make the adjustments from game one. You have size on the outside.
Yeah. This is all year long.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're talking about like they're playing the competition now, but they've done this all year long. The Natty, the 19th, Monday the 19th.
A week from tonight.
From tonight. Whew. Thanks for hanging out. It's fast-moving first hour there. When we come back, we've got Husker Portal news to talk about. We got Evan Bland and a whole lot more coming up. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
We're here at Menards Bank Sale, asking shoppers what they're putting in the bag to get 15% off.
Paint,
batteries,
tools,
toilet paper,
extension cords, grocery items,
hardware for my cabinets,
snack items, crackers, and some canned goods stuff.
Shop vac supplies, toothpaste, cereal, coffee, dog treats. I've got a lot of stuff to grab.
The list goes on, but the sale ends January 24th. Hurry in for Menards 15% off bag sale. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
The Legacy Retirement Communities invite you to enjoy the independence, comfort, and peace of mind they offer in their own special way at all of their locations. Connect with others, enjoy fabulous food, educational programs, fitness centers, and more. The Legacy communities are filled with movers and doers who embrace every stage of life, giving you the opportunity to live each day enriched and grateful. For a tour, call 402-436-3000 or visit legacyretirement.com.
When it feels like the world has stopped, good finds a way. Good is happening, even now. Good connects us, even when we can't get close. Good never stops, and neither does Children International. With support from caring friends, we help provide children and families with the critical essentials they need. Essentials like food assistance, hygiene education, medical help, and financial support. To learn more, go to children.org/help today. Together, we can help end poverty for good.
Thank a teacher who has made a difference in your life. In honor of Teacher Recognition Day in March, KFOR and Lincoln Public Schools Thank You Teacher Contest gives current and former students a chance to show their appreciation. 5 teachers and the students that nominate them will be invited to a special breakfast at the Governor's Mansion. Submit your entry by going to KFORnow.com.
Nominations must be received by 5 p.m. January 31st. Say thanks to your favorite teacher today.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Robert Varnado, president of Lee Container. Our company is committed to building a welcoming workplace. Inclusive employment isn't just the right thing to do, it's good for business. More than 8 out of 10 adults with developmental differences do not have a paid job, and only 36% of the public believes that they are capable of being leaders. Now is the time to change that. We can work together to provide more opportunities for the 6.5 million people in the U.S. that have autism, intellectual, or developmental differences. Join Lee Container in taking the Delivering Jobs pledge today. We're supporting Autism Speaks, Best Buddies, and Special Olympics in their commitment to create pathways to 1 million employment and leadership opportunities for this talented community by 2025. Together we can build the workforce of the future. Visit deliveringjobs.org to learn more.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News.
I'm Sherry Preston. Homeland Security says it's sending even more federal troops to the city of Minneapolis as protests continued over the weekend following the death of 37-year-old Renee Good last week. She was killed by an ICE officer. ABC's Faith Abube has been covering it.
Over the weekend, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem doubling down on her position that the shooting was justified, accusing the deceased woman of domestic terrorism and claiming she tried to run over the agent with her vehicle, but the video shows her turning away. Minnesota officials say DHS has blocked them from accessing any evidence for a state-level investigation.
There were protests supporting those in Minneapolis and several other cities nationwide. It's difficult to get information about the crackdown protests going on in Iran. The internet cut off there, but there are reports more than 500 people have been killed.
In recent days, President Trump has thrown his support behind the demonstrators, threatening U.S. action if they are harmed. Now, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, saying protesters are destroying the country to, quote, please the U.S. president.
ABC's Martha Raddatz. President Trump insists he knows nothing about the DOJ's criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
In a rare public statement Sunday night, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell confirming the Fed was served grand jury subpoenas as part of a probe into his testimony about the central bank's building renovation costs. But Powell says what the investigation is really about is retribution.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public.
Since he took office, President Trump has repeatedly demanded the Federal Reserve slash interest rates.
15,000 caregivers off the job in New York City's largest nurses' strike ever. Dow down 118. This is ABC News.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text METER to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text METER to 321-321. That's METER to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent.
A hearing on expelling a state senator. Good morning. I'm Jeff Moats. We're at 37 degrees at KFOR. Happening at this hour in a hearing room at the state capitol. A hearing to expel Amherst State Senator Dan McKeon over misconduct after he allegedly inappropriately touched a legislative staff member at an end-of-session party last May. The legislature's executive board has suspended the rules to hold the hearing for today. KFOR News continues to follow this story. Firefighters got a fire under control in about 15 minutes late Sunday morning at a home on the northwest corner of 71st and Holdridge. Jeremiah Gesh lives down the street and was outside with his daughter at the time.
We were yelling, and the neighbors were yelling the kids' names and didn't hear anything or see anything, so there's a lot of smoke.
They called 911 after seeing the smoke and finding that nobody was home. LFR arrived at the scene about 3 minutes later, and Battalion Chief Jim Bopp told KFOR News at the scene the first engine crew arrived and found smoke and flames from the front of the house.
Most of the body of the fire was in the kitchen area and got into the attic space. From what we can tell right now, we found no one in the home.
No injuries to report. 1 adult and 3 kids will be getting help from the Red Cross and relocation. Fire investigators say that the fire was cooking related when it started on the stove, burned through the walls and into the attic. The fire went undetected after the occupants left the home. About $105,000 damage was done. Nebraska wrestler A.J. Ferrari has been arrested for an outstanding warrant out of Texas. He was arrested on Saturday and booked for extradition back to Collin County, Texas, which is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The State Patrol says Ferrari was seen by a trooper going 90 miles per hour in a pickup truck late Friday night, early Saturday morning along eastbound I-80 near Waverly. It was determined during the traffic stop, trooper realized it was Ferrari and that he had an extradition warrant back to Collin County, Texas. Ferrari was put in the Lancaster County Jail. Lincoln's first forecast today will be sunny with a high around 58. Tonight, clear sky, low of 35 tomorrow. Increasing clouds, maybe a chance of sprinkles and a high of 61. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Here's the tale of Tina searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell Good RX Road and hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand new.
From the start, none of those hidden fees in your car.
Pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
I put it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
New message.
Your social security number has been suspended. If you do not contact us, your account will be deactivated.
Scammers are aggressive when they contact a potential victim. Social Security Administration employees will never threaten you for information or promise benefits in exchange for information. In those cases, the call is fraudulent and you should just hang up. Don't provide any personal or financial information to these thieves.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back to the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. A great start to your Monday. We talked about it. We're going to talk about Husker portal stuff. Obviously, if you've been out and about now, we know that former quarterback, Husker quarterback, Dylan Raiola, headed to Oregon. Probably no surprise. I'll be interested to see how that goes. Not for him. I'm rooting for him. Whether there's quarterback decisions could be made. Whenever you read out there, you don't know what Dante Moore is going to do yet. Does he return? Does he go in the draft? You also can read about Ty Simpson right now. Have you read that? He's said he's going in, but sources are saying there's schools trying to get him not to go in the NFL, offering up. You hear the number 6 to $6.5 million to go in the portal and transfer. What a world we live in. But in the Husker portal, where we thought the sky was falling.
Yeah, but they finally got their long snapper.
That's where we're going. Number 1, we have a long snapper. Thank you, Michigan State.
The team was not complete till they finally got that long snapper. Jack Wills, come on down.
Yeah.
But how about the Danny Kalen news? Come on,
that's
back.
interesting to me. That is interesting to me. It's almost, I don't know how to take. Does it? It goes back to a local kid out of Bell West, Omaha kid, coming back, a part of the first class for Coach Rule, right? Second class of Coach Rule. Mm-hmm. Kind of a glue guy. Call him the glue guy, maybe a culture guy.
The first full class, not the one that he put together. The one that after a full season he brought in.
Kind of a culture guy coming back. I believe his presence in the room stabilizes the room. From one, again, you have the UNLV kid coming in, but also you have another one that's taking stable snaps, whether it be, here or at Virginia where he spent some time. I think it's a good coming home for him, having a veteran presence in the room.
You now have 3 quarterbacks on your roster that have started Power 4 games.
Yep.
Calandry did it at Virginia. TJ Lateef's done it at Nebraska. And Kalen also was at 1 game he started at Virginia.
Yep.
So you have
quality snaps.
There's not many rosters in America that are going to have 3 quarterbacks that have started Power 4 games. Simple as that. In terms of the competition, I'll be curious to see how it goes because Kalen is not the running threat that Lateef and Calandria bring. So he's a little bit the odd man out there, but he's still going to be involved in this quarterback battle. They're gonna sell it as a 3-way battle. I see it as more of a 2-way battle, and you have
it's Lateef and
you have Kalen has some quality depth. But hey, we'll see how things shake out. You never know how guys develop through the offseason. So we'll see.
A lot of other stuff going on. I think before we get into the new additions that are coming, I think a big one is how about McGahee redrawing his name?
It's interesting.
It's interesting, but also I think it's a good addition to have back, maybe from the development side and things like that to keep that room a little bit of stout. But I really like that him coming back.
And I think that might be a case of a new coaching staff and a new edge coach sitting down with the guy and saying, hey, I know this past year was tough, and I know you didn't get utilized and coached the way you wanted to, but it's a different staff coming in. We got a new set of eyes, and we value you. Because from what I had heard, he was a guy that had been planning to enter the portal for months.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like how this season went. He didn't like how he was used this year. Didn't like his place in the depth chart. So I think that comes down to a new coaching staff sitting down with the guy and saying, hey, we know you're unhappy, but we saw what you put together your freshman year. We have a plan for you.
Yep.
We're going to get you on the field next year. So yeah, that's an important keep for Nebraska, but I do wonder how that went down behind the scenes with the guy that, by all accounts, the past 6 months was challenging for him, and he was not happy.
A lot of me is like, I like seeing keeping the kids together in a class creates that synergy, creates that culture as you go, because also you got Parrott has withdrawn. He'll come back. Pruden and Tarver have said they also will return. I also read, interesting, I don't know where it's going, but it's something to think about, is Keanu Davis. And now it's going in, but not officially in the portal. Name not listed. Where does that go? Is there conversations there?
He felt to me like a tweener guy that I don't think necessarily fit into an even front defensively. And you look at the guys that Nebraska is bringing back, I think they're guys that more easily fit into a four-man even defensive front, which I don't think Davis fits that. The other guy that I think is a little bit odd man out is Linhart, but we saw him in the bowl game move out to the defensive end position when Nebraska did go play even front. So I think you have a plan there. Petchak's a guy I think that moves out to the outside, becomes a defensive end, probably a strong side defensive end. You have Winery. He fits right into an even front. I look at Van Poppel and Gabe Moore as being guys that fit into an even front. Davis is the guy that I don't think he's a 3 technique. That might be the position you get him. He doesn't necessarily have that. I don't think he's big enough to be a nose tackle. I don't think he's got the quickness you need to be a 3 technique. So he kind of feels like an odd man out a little bit.
Yep.
So I'll be curious to see
just interesting where that goes. But you also add some really nice additions. I loved your tweet about the UCLA gentleman, about the number of stops he's had.
Oh, Anthony Jones, the defensive end, committed to Washington, starts off at Oregon, then goes to Indiana, then Michigan State, then UCLA, now Nebraska. 5 schools in 5 years.
It's all right. Maybe you just got to find your landing spot.
Maybe he just loves Big Ten country. Maybe he's just taking a little tour of Big Ten country. He's a guy. It does say something about a guy. How many times do you see a transfer from the Power 4 level go down to a school that isn't Power 4? It says something that he was able to remain within the Big Ten, and he always found a Big Ten landing spot. It speaks to his skill. You have to find the right role for him. I don't think he's a guy you want out there for 70 snaps a game. That's okay. But his role, he can get some pass rush wins, a nice rotational piece to have along that defensive line.
He'll be
physically, he's a specimen.
Yeah.
6'5", 265, and you just look at him, and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy belongs on the field.
And, hey, get the right coaching. Maybe he does turn into a guy who can play 50 snaps for you defensively. I don't see that off the jump. But in the portal era, it comes down to less what have you done recently and more how do you fit within the culture and coaching of a team. And if he fits within the culture and the coaching, more power to him. He could be a guy that makes some impact plays for you next year because of that freakish frame that he does have. But based on production you've seen the last couple of years, strikes me as a rotational kind of guy. But again, let me reiterate my point.
Hey.
In the portal era, it's less about what have you done at your other stops and more about how do you fit within the culture and the coaching. Look at Nebraska basketball.
Fit.
Price Sanford is a guy that fits into the culture, the coaching, and the system at Nebraska. And you see how he's made a jump from his time at Iowa to his time at Nebraska. You can say the same thing with football. Look at Indiana. They find a whole bunch of guys that flew under the radar, but they fit with the culture, the coaching, and the scheme. And you see them go out and play the best seasons of their lives. That's what it comes down to.
You also add one from Pitt, Mr. Winningham, out of Pitt. You look at him, a big-bodied as well. You can see, again, they're attacking that defensive line. How do you get gentlemen with snaps under their belt? Again, what are you talking about? What they do for you lately type guys. He's another one you add to the mix as well. You're starting to kind of see the size and athleticism that they're looking for. You also add a JUCO. I will butcher his name. I know you guys will get it right. We'll call him Andy for now.
Oh, yeah, I did. I had the pronunciation for this yesterday.
Come on, you gonna get it? I'm ready for you.
Andy Berberia, I believe.
It's Berberia. All right, Jay silent.
Andy Berberia, I believe.
Andy Berberia coming out of the JUCO ranks. He's an interesting one as well, as multiple commitments before he lands here in Nebraska. Washington State in October, then K-State jumped in there, and then as their head coach retired, Kleiman retires. Suddenly the doors open. He walks into Nebraska, coming off and he's played 19 games, 8.5 sacks, 15.5 for a loss as well. He'll be another big body guy getting you there. Nebraska's made some work in the portal with a few days left.
I think one of the most interesting things is look at the size they brought in on the offensive line.
Yes.
Tree Babalade, 6'5", 330.
I like that name.
Brendan Black, 6'4", 325.
Mm-hmm.
You might have a 315-pound Justin Evans as your smallest offensive lineman.
That is incredible.
And you brought in size in the defensive back. The defining theme with this portal window. Hey, look at Owen Chambliss, 6'3", 230. The defining theme is they have brought in size a lot of places. Quasi Gilmer, 6'2", 190. He's not. I've seen a lot of people compare him to Dane Key. I don't think he's Dane Key. I think he's got a little bit more explosiveness to his game, but a very solid route runner. He's got some size. Again, not like the 6'4", 6'5" bruiser in the run game. That's the kind of receiver I thought they'd bring in, but you still bring in some size there. Anthony Jones, 6'5", 265.
I mean, you got some.
It's size all over the place.
You can even look at size at the safety spot when you bring in McDougal, 6 foot, 195. Looks like there's a little meat there that wants to hit somebody as well. Linebacker Dexter Foss, 6'4", 200. Good size there. I mean, they're making some big. Boy, your boy Jack Wills, 6'2", 217.
Big old long snapper.
Only a few days left to the portal. See how that finishes up. I believe they're on it
closes Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m.
11:59.
Is that right?
3 days away. So they'll be still scrambling to finalize some portal additions, as then it'll go quiet. What are we going to do with a quiet portal? Is there another? That's the only one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. One portal window. But where there is a rule, there's a loophole.
Yep, there's ways.
I look at how Mac Markway was brought in.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how that whole thing went down where it was fall camp and, there's a tight end that has just apparently walked onto the football team, and Matt Rule and staff, they knew nothing about it. But Mac Markway, he decided that Nebraska was the best place for him academically. And, hey, he just happens to be a good football player, so we're going to let him onto the football team. We didn't know this was happening. Yeah, sure, okay. But you can get a guy onto your roster while bending some of those rules or finding some loopholes about the transfer portal window.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. It just happened to work out. Yeah, okay.
Do we know how that works with the final two teams?
In terms of
portal. It is what it is, right?
It is what it is.
You need to get in there before the national championship game, if you decide. That's interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
It's the calendar.
Because I believe there was an Indiana kid that actually went in, right?
There's been multiple, yeah,
that have gone in.
Do you still get your ring?
I don't know the answer to that. Like, can you hey, what's that like? It's like 4 days, but I got to get in before. Is there paperwork, a signed deal where, hey, this is going to happen, but I'm going to finish out what I started at the two schools? Because there's a lot of talk maybe at Miami at running back, what that looks like. Just an interesting point of the portal that I have no answer to. But it sounds like you got to get in on by the 15th at 11:59, or you're just going to stuck where you are.
And then what happens if you enter the portal but still want to play in the game? The coaches be like, no, you're not playing.
You imagine going to Signetti going, coach,
I'm not going to be here
I know
next
I'm the
year.
backup.
He definitely give you that face, though.
I know I'm the backup, but yeah, or going to Cristobal, you ain't getting a hug for it. So, all right, let's take another break. Let's come back with our guy from the Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland. right. Shane said, I think he read that teams in the championship game get an extra 5 days.
Do they?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I just always thought that was odd. That I'm sure there's kids on both these teams that want to finish out, but have had the conversation about going in the portal. Yeah?
See, I guess I haven't looked into my rules of the national championship teams
I
because
don't
it hasn't
know.
affected Nebraska.
And also this is the first time we've only had one portal window. There's always been a spring one, right?
Okay, so the players on the national championship teams receive a 5-day extension, but the teams cannot go out for 5 more days. That's my understanding here, but I think.
So the player, 5 days after the Natty?
Yes. So
or they got to be in by the 20th?
They get a window after the game, the 20th through the 24th.
Okay, so they do have a window. So I was thinking maybe there because I'm sure there's kids sitting there going, oh, all right, we're gonna finish this out, but I ain't telling coach yet.
I'm gonna get Evan online here.
All right, I ain't telling coach yet. You could tell coach.
I got that number memorized.
You can get him now, don't you? After so many times you hear it.
Yeah.
Can you guys do that too when you hear a button push that you can hear the number in your head?
What do you mean?
If you hear the number, like, I don't know, I feel like.
Oh, like dialing something? Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly which ones he just pressed.
Welcome back to the Morning Hookup. Happy Monday. Happy Victory Monday. This is our guy. You know how world held. Evan Bland. Evan, happy Victory Monday. Oh, my bad. It's fired up there. Yeah?
Please
No?
hold. Please hold.
Please hold. Please hold.
I'll just figuring it out.
Atta baby, it's a boy. This is our guy. You know how we're here. Evan Bland. Evan, happy Victory Monday.
Happy Monday, guys. Did I just hear that old phone commercial? Mr. Bob, we out a baby, eats a boy.
I don't know if these two will get that, but you got
the
that.
what
Thank
now?
you. Oh my God.
No clue.
That's one of the greatest commercials ever about like collect calls and a phone commercial where you would I didn't know the basis of it, but you would so when you did a collect, do you guys know what collect calls are?
I've heard of them.
Oh gosh. Evan,
This
see
is
what
great.
see what
This
we
is
do.
fantastic.
This is fantastic.
I've always
you guys
kinda
ever used a phone book except for to sit on?
No.
Exactly.
Or, they used to deliver them to your front door.
So you would also do a collect call. You would go to the switchboard, blah blah, and you'd have to announce your name, but you didn't want to pay for the call. So the commercial was this family had a baby boy, and the name was "Had a baby, it's a boy." Had a baby, it's a boy. Click, and they hang up. So you picked it up. They heard the announcement came across was they had a boy. Perfect. And hung up. You didn't have to pay for the call.
The best part about that was to me, it was always the reaction on the other end with like these new grandparents. They're like, oh, they had a baby. It's a boy.
Yeah, it's a boy.
Classic. A little bit outdated, but classic. Love it.
Oh, man. Now I feel older. Phone books never used and never heard of a collect call, really. Man.
You used to have to pay for phone calls?
Oh, gosh.
Well, it's like a
You used to have to
prison
pay
thing.
for texts too. Remember when it was like
Pay
a
for
dime a text?
Text, and then you got you guys, we used to have to the old rotary phone. You'd get tired trying to dial the number. Your fingers would hurt.
I have used a rotary phone once.
Yeah, and if it was a 9, you had to wait longer for it to circle back around.
This is incredible.
Yep, that's right.
This is great stuff. Oh my gosh. Well, Evan, thanks for hanging out with us on a Monday. Let's kick it off a little hoops talk. Nebraska basketball improves to 16-0. When you're watching that game, if you got a chance to watch it, and you're watching that, and they're down 16, 55 to whatever it was. They're down 16 at that moment. I was sitting there thinking, man, I don't know if they come back from this, but I had no panic that this team was going to fight and fight and fight. And the fact that they continue to get it from the 8 guys that hit the floor. And then there you go, 16-point comeback, and you win it, and you improve to 16-0.
Yeah, it was maybe the most impressive win of the 16, just because they were down and considering the venue at Assembly Hall and, maybe, I don't know how Indiana's crowd was. I mean, those guys stayed up late watching their football team the night before, but I mean, it was incredibly impressive. The thing I keep going back to with Nebraska basketball is that, like, they have answers in so many ways from so many different people. Like, certainly a lot of it's defensively, and that continued to be really impressive. Just the way that they close out on shooters and rotate over to help on slashers in the lane. Like, they figured that out as things went on. And then, I mean, they got some key buckets. There was a stretch sometimes inside the last 10 minutes when they were making their comeback, when they just come down and they bury consecutive 3-pointers. I think Jamarcus Lawrence had one from the corner, and then maybe it was Frager or Sanford. I don't remember, but just back-to-back possessions. And it was just like, what that looks like is that looks like a top 10 team coming back. Like, Nebraska's been on the other end of that so many times where maybe they have a lead and you see that ranked team come in and start making their move. Well, now Nebraska's that ranked team making that push. And so, like, it was incredibly impressive. I feel like every game they play now is like a heat check. Like, well, how good is this Nebraska team really? And this was another one where they proved it with their experience, with their embracing of their roles. Like, they didn't panic. Like you said, like, it was all very impressive. And it just sort of now leaves you to imagine, like, how high can this thing go? What are they going to be ranked when the AP poll comes out today? Can they be undefeated and potentially face Michigan in a top 5 matchup in a few weeks? Like, what could that be like? Very, very impressive.
Evan Blaine with us here. And Evan, you talk about the AP poll. The highest ranking in Nebraska basketball history is number 8. Do you think they eclipse that today?
I haven't looked at it closely to see who else lost. Like, if there's an opening right ahead of them. If there's not, I don't know that you can necessarily make that case. So I guess I would have to look at it a little bit closer. But at this point, if you're 10, if you're 9, like, this is such rarefied air for Nebraska. Like, isn't it funny? Like, the talk forever has been, hey, when are they going to win an NCAA tournament game? And I think the assumption has always been, well, if and when that ever happens, it's going to be in a year when they're a bubble team. Maybe they pull a minor upset, whatever. I don't think anybody thought that it could happen like this, where they're on the 2 line in bracketology posts on a Monday. Like, it's nobody. I don't think anyone ever thought, man, Nebraska basketball could end their streak as a 2 seed beating a 15. Like, how crazy is that? It's such a neat thing. So I don't know, maybe they move up a spot to 9 just based on what the rest of the top 10 was doing. But yeah, I mean, if they could hit 8 or eclipse 8, like, I think that record goes back to at least the 90s, maybe way beyond that too. 60s, actually might have been the 60s. So really cool deal. And yeah, we'll see just how high they can get.
Evan, I'm a guy that always likes to play devil's advocate, and when inevitably it does happen that Nebraska does drop a game, what do you think is the cause for that? What are the weaknesses of this team that could get them in trouble?
Well, we saw a little bit of it against Indiana. I think sometimes it could come down to maybe Nebraska not having the star power that an opponent would have. And Indiana had a little bit of that. Michigan State had a little bit of that, even though that wasn't a high-scoring game. But I think there are moments, and you see this in the NBA quite a bit, where you have like a team that's a really good regular season team going up against maybe a team that's not quite as good but has better high-end talent. I kind of feel like maybe that's going to be the point where Nebraska is going to play somebody and some opponent's going to go off for like 35 or 40 individually, and they're just not going to have a stop or, an answer for it. That kind of maybe strikes me as what that could be. I think Nebraska plays really good team defense, but if you're really an elite scorer at the top of your game, I do think there are opportunities for Nebraska to, maybe give up some points in that way. So I think that's probably what I'd look at I do think, again, the way that they can, the different ways that Nebraska has to be able to beat you, and their defense have kept them in and helped them win all their games to this point. But I do feel like there's probably going to be a point down the line here where somebody is going to go off, and maybe that'll just be, enough to deal in that first loss.
Evan, talk about a guy like Brandon Frager, and a very young guy who reclassified, but seems to have found his niche or role within this Nebraska team, and his toughness and what it brings to the table. And because there's so many of those guys. You have the Frager, you have playing like this, you have Kel Jacobson, what he's been bringing the last few nights out on the court, and what Sam does, but more of Frager. And again, I know you hear it, well, he grew up overnight, or he's not a freshman anymore, he's playing like this now. But talk about what he's done and how maybe he just brings just an identity to what they do on defense for sure.
Yeah, I think internally, like, there was a belief that he could do at least something close to what he's doing now. He's kind of an interesting piece. He's sort of the Swiss Army knife, I think, of this team in a lot of ways, where you can pretty well identify and like define what the roles are for a good number of players on the team. I feel like Frager's a little bit more of a wild card in a good way, where he's sort of like Sam Hoiberg a little bit, but maybe with more upside, just in terms of like what he could look like in 2 or 3 years. And so, yeah, you have these moments where he can be your lockdown defender. You've got these moments when maybe Nebraska needs a bucket, and their outside shooting is in a lull or something, and he's the guy who's cutting to the rim or creating his own shot. So like, he's the guy, like, I think if you were to say, what's the piece Nebraska is going to build around in the next couple of years, I think Frager's clearly one of those guys. And, he does fit into that culture of just embracing your role. And again, like, I think that's hard as a freshman, because I think, typically if you're a freshman, it's like, hey, be good at this one thing, and then we're going to start to expand your game from there. And he's somebody who is good at a lot of things. And so the challenge becomes like knowing in a game when to assert yourself, like having that feel for, hey, my team needs a bucket, so I'm going to do that. Or, hey, my shot's not as sharp tonight, so I'm going to make a difference on the defensive end. Like, he has a really good feel for what his team needs in a given moment. And I think, there's no doubt, like, he's, as much as this team is about experience and kind of development, I think, Frager is kind of that example of oftentimes on the best teams, you do have 1 or 2 of those younger guys who eventually become stars, who are more role players on their first teams. And I think we're seeing that with Frager.
Evan Bland with us here from the Omaha World Herald as we talk some Husker basketball. But Evan, let's switch gears here, talk some Husker football and the transfer portal. Couple additions over the weekend. You have Quasi Gilmer from UCLA, an interesting addition and a big piece to the wide receiver room. You have a long snapper, Jack Wills. Very, very exciting news. You also get in a returner in Danny Kalen. So an interesting weekend for Nebraska football for sure in the transfer portal, as what kind of felt like maybe the sky was falling last Monday with the news of the Notre Dame quarterback. His name is escaping me now.
Kenny Minchie.
Going off to Kentucky. They've really made some work here in the past 5 days or so, though.
They have. It's been crazy, and they added a safety as well, Jacine Shiggs and Andy Berberia, the defensive tackle from Iowa Western, who was an All-American at that level. So technically not a portal ad, but a really big addition nonetheless. And so, it was a major weekend. And then you also factor in, it looks like they're close to hiring officially a defensive line coach in Corey Brown out of Miami of Ohio. They had a high school quarterback prospect in from Las Vegas who could potentially still be part of the 2026 class. And they have a number of other visitors who've been in town in the last few days who have yet to make a decision, most of them on the offensive or defensive lines. So the next 3 days, it's actually a recruiting dead period, which is kind of odd when you have a 2-week portal, but it coincides with the American Football Coaches Association conference that's going on. So no visitors the next couple of days, but they may well still get a commitment or two based on guys who've been in. But it's been a very impressive portal haul to this point. I mean, they've reset the linebacker position. They found multiple starters, most likely along the offensive line. You add a couple defensive linemen. They're probably not done there yet, but you bring in Anthony Jones from UCLA and Berberia from Iowa Western. And then, yeah, I mean, bringing Kalen back, what a twist that is. I don't know that a year ago when he left to go to Virginia, anybody thought that was a possibility that he'd circle back. But suddenly the quarterback room looks pretty decent for next year with Anthony Calandria and TJ Lateef. And now you've got Kalen in there as a third scholarship level candidate to compete and have a chance to play. And then, I mean, you mentioned Quasi Gilmer as well from UCLA. He was probably their best receiver last year, and he's produced at the level of Ja'Cory Barney in terms of catches and yards and things like that. So I don't know that they're quite done. I think you're still going to need a little bit more along the defensive line, maybe another offensive lineman. We'll see if they want to circle back and look at running back once more, but it does appear that they've completed the lion's share of what they wanted to do in the portal. And no doubt from a week ago to right now, I mean, it's night and day just in terms of how you evaluate the Husker Haul.
Evan, what are your thoughts on the offensive line? Because I think that's the most most impressive to me, how the coaches were so adamant about that was the first area they looked for in the portal. And they got some really solid pieces. There's a lot of, I think Elijah brought up earlier that the smallest weight on the offensive line next year could possibly be Justin Evans at 315. And it's just so important to shore up the trenches like that. So what are your overall thoughts on the offensive line, keeping that good quarterback room clean next year?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I think it's telling that they went out and felt like they needed to spend to bring in multiple starters when you still have, more than a dozen younger offensive linemen in the room like that. I think that does tell you what they felt about what they had and maybe why they made a position coaching change there. But I mean, you bring in Brendan Black, who's sort of on the Rocco Spindler plan, where he's got 1 year and he's probably going to be the guy at right guard. That's where he's played most of his career. And then, Tree Babalade, the South Carolina transfer, looks like he's probably the lead candidate to be the starter at right tackle. And I mean, his size is befitting of his name. I think that's fair to say. Like, he's a big guy who's been through the SEC grind for a couple of years. And so you feel good about that. And then, like I said, they're not done with maybe their additions. I mean, they brought in a couple O-linemen, a guy from Baylor named Sean Tompkins and somebody from LSU named Paul Mubenga, who were both left guard prospects. So I think they feel like they could still use another interior blocker in there. And then you bring back Justin Evans at center. You have Elijah Pritchett at left tackle, who's kind of looking like he's going to be an anchor for the offense next year. And you've got Gunnar Gatula when he gets back to full health. He's been a starter on the edge too, and he could play in multiple spots. And Tyler Kanak, who got a start in the bowl game, and they feel like as a senior could be somebody. So, I mean, you're probably setting it up to where you're going to have an older rotation of like 6 or 7 guys, and then you still have that affords some of those younger players still to continue to develop under Jeep Wade and the new offense. And so, again, it's probably not ideal. It's not something Nebraska wants to do every year to add 2 or 3 blockers out of the portal. But they felt like there was a need, and I think they've certainly gone out and addressed it with some guys who've proven themselves at different stops in college.
Evan Bland with us here. And Evan, before the transfer portal slams shut, what needs do you still have circled? What positions would you still like to see Nebraska make some improvements?
Yeah, I think you still need at least one more interior defensive lineman, maybe 2. I mean, that remains a position where you're a little light on production and you're a little light on weight, quite honestly. I mean, in terms of like guys who are 300 plus pounds on that side of the ball with experience, they've got almost nobody. Sula Fotu's played a little bit. Riley Van Poppel's a little bit lighter, I think 295. But I think you certainly need to look at that spot. Probably, I think they could use a guy who's like 320, one of those those space eating, run blocking, or run stuffing types. So I think he probably looked there. Just trying to go through the spot. Probably one more O lineman based on what they've done to this point. I feel like they probably got their quarterback needs set now with the return of Kalen. I don't know that there's that much more. I mean, they've gotten a couple DBs, linebackers set. They haven't pursued tight end at all in the portal. They feel like that's a room where they still have some depth and guys coming back to health like Matt Markway next year. So probably just those two, I'd say, defensive line and we'll kind of see where it goes from here, defensive line, offensive line, and maybe if they feel like somebody comes in who's a value piece or maybe a younger player that they could develop for a few years at whatever position, maybe that's something that they would look at too.
Well, Evan, another season opens up today. It's one we haven't had to talk about because we've had good stories for Nebraska hoops, because typically sometimes it's like, hey, how many days to baseball season? But it's open today, by the way. We're about, just over a month away from them taking the diamond for the first time.
Sure does feel like baseball weather today.
It does. It feels fantastic. Yeah, it actually does. They're probably getting a good day to start practice. They'll probably be outside. But, Evan, preview this team a little bit. What are some things, some storylines in this team, and maybe some the who's who to be watching for as they start their pursuit coming up in about a month?
Yeah, hard to believe. It's typically the first day of practice is about 2 weeks later than right now. This is a new rule from the NCAA. It's going to allow teams more time to ramp up players and evaluate. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense. You saw it in professional baseball for a long time. Like you need more than just 3 weeks to get guys ready, especially pitchers. So they'll be out there. I think they are going to practice outside today. So I'll be over there kind of seeing what they've got. But, I think you start with the pitching with this team. And, Ty Horn, we saw what he could do down the stretch last year. He was dazzling in some big games for Nebraska. I think how the rest of the rotation comes together will be one thing I'll be looking at here in the next few weeks. Cooper Katsky comes in. He was the MAC pitcher of the year at Miami of Ohio last year. Nebraska would love it if he could take a job and run with it. Carson Yasa is somebody who I think is really intriguing if he can get his command down. He's got some of the best swing and miss stuff on the team, I think, pretty clearly. Tucker Timmerman is somebody that they want to start. He's been in a swingman role for them. He was hurt in the fall, but he should be ready to go. So what's that look like? I mean, if those four guys hit like that gives you a heck of a start in terms of depth and even a midweek starter potentially. I think their back end guy, Kevin Minnell, is probably going to be the closer. He comes over from Mississippi State. He's really impressive as well. And then it's just kind of a matter of building out those arms in the middle. Colin Novacek, Gavin Blackowitz, Jalen Worthley, like a lot of guys, just kind of figuring out where they fit in. And then offensively, they're going to have to make a jump from what they did in terms of scoring production. I mean, they were last in the Big Ten in runs per game last year. They made a conscious effort in the offseason to go from more of a small ball team to, as Will Bolt likes to say, adding some slug to the lineup. And so they brought in a number of transfers to that end. Jet Buck, who's an athlete who they thought would play shortstop, and then Dylan Carey came back, so he'll be somewhere on the field. Nico Newhan, Cole Kitchens, who can play first base, is a power guy, sort of in the vein of Ty Stone from the last couple of years. So I think that's one thing I'll just be watching is, does that power translate a little bit in the next month and then certainly into the season? And then, how does the outfield come together too? I mean, Devin Nunez was a freshman last year who really hadn't played any outfield. And I thought it showed at times just in kind of some slower reads on fly balls, but they like him in center field. So if he's really made a leap as a defender and his bat takes the next step, he's somebody who could break out a little bit further too. You got Case Sanderson back there who's been impressive. So a lot of that stuff they have still to figure out here in the next month, define roles and things like that. But plenty of storylines. And again, I mean, it's always worth reminding that first 3 weekends of the season is loaded. I mean, Auburn, the top 25 rankings came out today. Auburn's going to be top 10. Louisville's top 10, who they're going to play once. Florida State's, I think, number 16. So they're going to be plenty motivated to figure out what they have, and then be ready to roll when those games get started.
Well, and hopefully Mother Nature continues to be nice to Nebraska as they can get out and get fly balls in the sky and get out and do some of that, as sometimes they're hampered by doing that and kind of looks a little wonky at times as they get out to do that. So, but Evan, we appreciate your time as always, my friend. Have a great Monday, a great week. We'll talk to you real soon.
Appreciate you guys. See ya.
Thanks, Evan Blam, the Mall World here. Great stuff from him. Baseball? I brought up baseball. I know. I'm sorry.
It's weird to think about.
Well, usually we're asking Evan about January 1st. Hey, how many days to baseball?
I don't know. I can't believe baseball's almost back already.
I know.
We'll be back in 2 months.
2 months. I was at practice last night.
The first game's what? A month from tomorrow?
February 13th.
Against UConn. Wow.
February 13th. They're out in Scottsdale. I think it's a 4 games. They have 4 games out there, I believe. 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yes, sir.
I believe so. But then they stay out that way. First 3 weeks are out that way, aren't they? Then they head to Frisco at some point.
Arlington.
Arlington.
And then about a road series at Auburn.
Man.
To end February.
February what?
It's 20. It's the last weekend of February.
I always wanted to go on a SEC baseball.
27th, 28th, and then March 1st.
Whew. Boy, big time. All right, let's take a break and come back and do stories that we missed.
I'm going to do my best Elijah Herbal impression. We got about 8 minutes on the clock.
Ooh. No.
7:46.
No.
I don't even know.
5:30.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Less
I didn't put in the commercials.
Yeah. And I got to move just a little bit here.
Yeah, each of those commercials are about 30 seconds. That's about 2 minutes. That makes sense.
A couple stories out there, a couple sources stories. What is going on in the world today? I tell you what, if you can get out there, it is beautiful. Yeah. It's something that I saw a commercial for last night. That's again probably not in stores. That's coming up in I don't know, less than probably 3 weeks. The Winter Olympics.
Oh, how about Lindsey Vonn?
41
years old.
Could be a phenomenal story.
Got I think a full knee replacement, and she won this weekend.
Yeah.
In, was it Belgium or?
She's back.
Yeah. At age 40, you're not supposed to be able to do that at age 41. You're supposed to be borderline retired by age 41. Your body is breaking down. Old as hell.
Old. Are we on? Somebody just got a text. Hot mic.
Maybe.
All right. Did I say something? I didn't say anything bad, did we? No.
Test. Test.
Should be good now.
Yeah, we're good now.
Didn't want you to go Tom Brennan on me.
Tom Brennan. I consider myself a man of faith.
I did that once. Not that. I did drop a bomb one time, not knowing we thought we were off.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of us.
Guess the router didn't fire.
Well, this was after that. This was after the show, and we were doing like just barely, and we were about to do the
We're doing the promo and just kind of BSing around.
yeah, and I dropped the F-bomb,
Mm-hmm.
and it went out.
Good thing no one listens to this station anyway, right?
I don't know. I had 2 texts within about 15 seconds.
Well, we're coming back here, so well, actually, we have 5 seconds.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Welcome back in the morning. Hookup. Special thanks to Evan Blair on my world. And also, special thanks to everybody taking out the time to listen to us today and letting us know that we were still on for a minute. Thank you. That's good looking out.
I'm blaming the command that was supposed to turn our mics off didn't backfire. I'm blaming the computer for that one.
Yeah, take that, computer. We back. We push stories that we missed.
We push.
Can we push the button? Is it work now?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go.
The stories we miss. The Morning Hookup.
Hey, we brought it up early, NFL coaching stuff, especially the Packers. Sources are now saying the Packers are expected to try to work out a deal in the coming days to keep head coach Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. He only has 1 year left on his deal. They're working towards maybe trying to keep him. Does he want to be there still?
Yeah, I think he probably does still want to be there. But the Packers, their season always ends in utter heartbreak.
Mm-hmm.
Utter heartbreak. They blew it against the Niners a couple years ago in the NFC title game. Remember that one? They should have won that one. It was a cold night at Lambeau. They should have won that. They definitely should have won on Saturday. How do you blow that? You're 21 to 3?
24 to 3.
That's a bad one.
24 to 3.
By the
and
way,
you lose?
Yeah, he's 76-40-1 in his 7 seasons there. He's made the playoffs 6 times, but going back to it, has yet to make the conference championship or the Super Bowl.
Didn't he make? No, he made the conference
championship once in 2 seasons. So the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, last 2 seasons he's failed to. Even remember they killed the Cowboys a couple
That's
years ago in the wild
That's
card
right.
round. You're like, man, this might be the team of destiny, and then they lose the divisional round.
Yep. So
there, I have doubts about LaFleur, regular season merchant. But when the postseason rolls around, was it LaFleur or is it your quarterback Jordan Love?
Yeah,
you're 1 score in the second half. 1 touchdown, I should say, in the second half away from winning that football game, and you can't get it done.
There was a lot of, I think part of it was play calling, and then there was a lot of weird clock management things that LaFleur did with his timeouts that I'm like, what in the, why are you using a timeout there? And then later in the game, it came back to bite him. Like, oh, it'd be nice if you had a timeout right here on your final drive. Yeah. I think it's a mix of both. I don't think it's one or the other.
I think you should also note here, by the end of that game, by the final drive, the Packers were down 3 of their starting offensive linemen. They didn't have a left tackle, a center, or a right tackle.
Yeah,
the guys that started a lot of games for them this season. So that's a factor. But yeah, no, simply put, they blew it. They blew it.
They blew it. Choked.
They choked it. Absolutely. Also in NFL, I want to get your guys' thoughts here with the Eagles. Do you think there should be questions about Sirianni even after he just won a Super Bowl? Because he needs to make some coaching staff changes.
Is yes and no. I think they need
a new offensive coordinator.
They got to change up the offense side of the football.
It's top to bottom.
I think they like playing for him. I think they get there. I mean, maybe not AJ Brown, which they said it's a good relationship, but I think they've got to. Those are the conversations. Probably like going back to like Harbaugh when he's like, "I'm not going to make changes." They're going to be like, "Hey,
it's a team that sometimes you just get stale within your locker room, and I think that's just a locker room that needs some
change
sort of
is good
spark
at times.
Yeah.
Change and churn.
Even if you have the best roster in the NFL, the best roster in the NFL can get stale.
Yep.
I think a spark offensively, put Big Dom on the headset, make him offensive coordinator, and I think you're set for the Super Bowl run. Big Dom.
Also out there, we've talked about it. Dylan Raiola headed to Oregon. There's also now maybe some clarity in the LSU transfer quarterback portal, and it's believed out there that Sam Levitt has found a landing spot at LSU with Lane Kiffin. So it was true when he was sitting there hanging out on the basketball court.
I feel like it's a marriage of, oh, well, I got no one else now.
Yep. Hey, what do you think about this? Sure, let's do it.
I guess I need to play football next year.
Sure, let's do it.
I wish nothing for the worst at Lane at LSU. So I hope that ends in.
I don't think you're the
crashes and
only
burns.
one. Also in college football, Trinidad Chambliss, they are planning a lawsuit coming up as his 6-year eligibility was denied. They're planning to sue the NCAA over eligibility coming up.
The argument from the NCAA is, yeah, you didn't play for a year, but your health status means you probably should have been able to play that year. Why didn't you?
Yep.
So their argument is essentially like you sat out just to try to get another year down the road. Whenever you definitely could have played this year. What was it? Tonsillitis? Is that what? Yeah. Sorry, bud. I don't think they're going to overturn that one. Though they are pretty damn inconsistent with how they legislate medical hardship waivers.
Yep.
Wait,
Also,
what? The NCAA is inconsistent? What?
They didn't know what they were
They would never be.
Also, you know me, not the biggest live guy, but I am good with good feel-good stories. Anthony Kim. Did you see this story? Anthony Kim, stud PGA guy, young guy coming up, got into drugs, all that stuff. Redemption story. He was relegated out of live golf, played his butt back into it. He's back into it after completing the rounds. Congrats to him as he's making the journey back. Tomorrow, Robin Washut, Brian Munson, and a whole lot more, a whole lot of you. Have a great Monday. We'll catch you on a Tuesday.